does that mean for us? Well, first, it means that you are able to provide more care for your gardens, your flowers, and your trees. And General Manager Michael Thompson will share more on that in just a minute. But most importantly, it means that Calgary's water infrastructure has held up as we increase the speed of flow in the pipes from the Bears Paw Water Treatment Facility. Since we increased the speed of water flow on Monday, we have not detected any new wire snaps or any unusual activity. Our city team is confident that the pipe has been able to manage the increased speed of water flow. This is largely due to the excellent work that was done to prepare for turning on the additional pump, and as a result, they were successful in minimizing any pressure spikes. Now, before I turn things over to General Manager Thompson to provide more details on the restoration work and the Stage 2 restrictions as well as next steps, I want to address some key issues around the feeder main break. First, I started today not by saying I'm thrilled or excited to announce the move to Stage 2 restrictions. I said that I'm relieved. I can tell you that I'm relieved, the council is relieved, and all of the people who have worked tirelessly around the clock and every weekend since the 5th of June are all relieved. Providing safe water supply to Calgarians is one of the absolute core jobs of City Council and administration. And for the last several weeks, we have faced massive challenges. We have dug in, and we have found solutions to some very tricky problems. There was no guarantee that the pipe could or would withstand the additional flow. And while we are not out of the woods yet, I am relieved that we have taken one more giant step forward and are able to share good news with you today. I cannot emphasize enough how much effort has gone into getting us to this point. Effort by city teams, by local contractors and trades, and other private sector partners. The number of sleepless nights and the family dinners that they gave up to ensure that our water flow could be restored is incredible. We are incredibly grateful as well to have such talent and commitment in our city. Secondly, I need to reinforce that our work doesn't stop here. Calgarians deserve answers to why this happened and how to prevent this from happening again. Early on, I called for an independent third-party review. This review is essential in providing answers and ensuring that we improve our water delivery and monitoring methods in any way that we can. From the moment I connected key players in Calgary's oil and gas community to support the city on the eve of calling a local state of emergency, their expertise has been invaluable in helping our team craft solutions that worked for our specific situation and to expedite the restoration process. We need to continue to lean on experts like this for the independent review process, and that review must be completely arm's length. As I said to media earlier this week, CAO Duckworth needed to get the ball rolling on this, but now he and his staff need to step back and extract themselves as quickly as possible, letting third-party experts get on with the work of the review. Now, make no mistake, the work doesn't stop with just a review of the issue. We'll be doing everything we can to ensure that the health of our infrastructure going forward is managed in a comprehensive manner, and we will be leading this important conversation across the country. Thirdly, we know that aging infrastructure issues are not unique to Calgary. Similar water incidents have hurt Atlanta, Denver, and very recently our fellow Canadians in Quebec City. And frankly, Calgary is on the front lines of an infrastructure crisis, and I just can't sugarcoat that. This is a legacy issue that spans back decades. It is not easily addressed, and it has clearly been ignored or written off as too expensive by politicians and governments for some time. I'm of the view that perhaps we got lucky here in Calgary. Our warning came early, and we have world-leading infrastructure expertise right here in our city. In fact, in September, I'll be talking to the Association of Maintenance Contractors of Canada as they kick off a major project on the future of infrastructure maintenance in this country. My focus will be the critical role that strong public and private sector partnerships play in fostering trust as well as innovation. I'll now ask General Manager Michael Thompson to talk about the details of Stage 2 and to explain the next steps that we can expect as we continue to restore water service to regular levels in our city.
Thank you, Mayor, and hello, everyone. I'm happy to be back with you this morning to provide another update on our progress to restoring our water distribution system. Since we started bringing the feeder main back into service, we have been carefully watching the pipe's performance. As I've shared in the past, after the initial break in the feeder main on June 5th, we discovered a number of areas of structural weakness in the pipe. These are places where there have been a significant number of snaps in the wire that coils around each pipe segment. Understanding that we had to restore normal indoor water use as quickly as we could, we conducted emergency repairs and replaced 5 segments of pipe, or the 5 hotspots. However, we know there are other areas that will require a medium to long-term rehabilitation plan, which is currently being developed. In the meantime, we have applied a lot of caution as we increased the flow of water through the pipe to try and minimize the pressure spikes that could cause stress or additional damage to the pipe walls. 2 weeks ago, we were able to increase the flow of water through the feeder main to about 55% of its maximum capacity. At 55% flow, we were able to supply enough water so that people could resume normal water use and so that we could move to stage 3 outdoor water restrictions. On Monday, we turned on another pump at the Bears Paw water treatment plant and increased the flow of the water in the pipe again. Thanks to careful planning and execution from our team, this went very smoothly with no significant pressure spikes. We reached 70% flow earlier this week and have been watching to see how the pipe would respond. We're happy to report that the pipe continues to respond well. We have not detected any new wire snaps since we increased the pressure. This has given us the confidence we need to announce that as of today, we are lowering our outdoor water restrictions to stage 2. Here are some details on what outdoor water use is permitted at stage 2. We know many of you are anxious to water your lawns, particularly given the heat that we're experiencing right now. All Calgarians, residents, and businesses can now use a sprinkler, soaker hose, or in-ground sprinkling system for up to 1 hour a week on specific days. This sprinkler schedule is determined by address. Houses that have even numbers will use one schedule, and houses with odd numbers will use another. We are still being mindful that we have enough supply to meet the increased demand, especially during this hot weather. By following the sprinkler schedule, we will help to manage demand in a gradual, measured way, with use balanced across the entire city. Under the sprinkler schedule, even numbered addresses can use their sprinkler on either Wednesday or Saturday, and odd numbered addresses can use their sprinkler on either Thursday or Sunday. That means that odd numbered addresses can start watering today. We ask that you water in the morning or in the evening, avoiding the warmest hours in the afternoon. This will help to minimize evaporation. In addition to the sprinkler schedule, you can water gardens, plants, and shrubs with a hose fitted with a trigger spray nozzle or drip irrigation with an automatic shutoff on any day and at any time. The move to stage 2 also means that more water use is permitted for the landscaping and irrigation industry. Starting today, watering trucks can be filled with potable water for trees and shrubs. Over the past several weeks, we've been offering a non-potable river water pickup station for landscapers. With today's change, that station will be closing. As I mentioned earlier this week, we continue to proceed with caution. We will monitor on Friday and throughout the weekend to see how our system performs and to ensure that our supply is enough to meet the increased demand. If all continues to go well, we may be able to move to stage 1 outdoor water restrictions on Monday. Also, as I shared with you earlier, we have started developing a medium to long-term rehabilitation plan for the feeder main to address some of the ongoing issues we've detected. We will be incorporating additional information that we expect to receive by the end of the month from the pipe diver inspection. Some of the plans that we are looking at include placing a liner inside the existing pipe, replacing additional segments of pipe which have lower structural capacity, exterior reinforcing of the pipe, or installing a new pipe altogether. Developing this plan will take some time, but we're committed to keeping you updated as we progress through this. I wanted to thank you for your time today and for your continued support. For more details on what is allowed under Stage 2 restrictions, what to expect in each stage, frequently asked questions, and other information, please go to calgary.ca/restrictions. We'll be back tomorrow providing an update at 2 p.m. and we'll have no live stream today. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Michael. As this heat wave carries on, I'd like us all to continue to be good neighbors and check in on each other. And remember that while you can get back to reviving your gardens and your lawns, be sure to limit your sprinkler use to only 1 hour per week. And the days that you are able to use that sprinkler system are available on calgary.ca. And as Michael mentioned, it depends on your house number for what your schedule is. I will continue my 8:30 live streams every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday until we are in Stage 1 outdoor restrictions. And in addition to those regular times, anytime that we have an important update, I will be here to share that with you. I'll see you tomorrow morning at 8:30, and until then, be well, be good water stewards, and please continue to take care of each other. With that, we'll go to Jose to take any questions from media.
Scott from CBC. I have a question for Mike. I guess if everything goes well, you turn on another pump, you get up to 75%. Is there a plan to go beyond 75% capacity, or would the city just hold it there?
What we would be doing is watching the supply and demand. If we get to a 75% capacity, we're pretty confident that we would be able to meet the regular demand for summer months, and we would have to watch what's happening. I want to remind everyone that last summer with the heat that we experienced and the low watering conditions, we were in Stage 1 watering restrictions from August through to October. And so it is not uncommon for us to be in Stage 1 restrictions given our climate.
What's the capacity at 75% for that meter main? How many million liters a day does that give the city capacity?
If we get up to the 75%, we'll be just over 300 million liters per day going through that pipe.
And sorry, total for the city?
Just through that piece of pipe. Not sure the number for the entire city.
Darren Blagwire. Just curious, we stayed in Stage 3 restrictions for 2 weeks at 55, or maybe a little over 2 weeks, at 55% capacity. We have only spent a couple days in Stage 2, and Director Bouchard yesterday said that we could be moving to Stage 1. Can you explain the process along the way that kind of takes us from that long extended time in Stage 3 quickly to 2, quickly to potentially 1? How are we coming up with that plan?
Yeah, so the question really about what was the duration in Stage 3 to 2 to 1 and why the changes in duration? And I would start off by when we got into Stage 3 restrictions, we had really put the pipe under at 55% under some additional stress that it hadn't been seen before. We were listening to wire snaps that were happening in the pipe and really tracking to see the health of the pipe. At the same time, we were really working with our plant staff to figure out how they could bring on additional pumps and minimize the pressure increase in the pipe. And it's really a pressure surge that happens when you turn on additional pumps. And I'll say that our team did a fabulous job over the last 2 weeks working with engineers to figure out how to minimize the pressure increase in the pipe when they turned on additional pumps. And the work that they did has allowed us to be able to move to Stage 2 now, and if everything goes well, to move to Stage 1 on Monday.
This next question, sorry, just follow up. This question is for the mayor. Mayor, you said, I'm sure you know what you said, but I'll just repeat it. This is a legacy issue that spans back decades. It's not easily addressed and has been ignored or written off by politicians. Are we to assume then that it will no longer be ignored, and perhaps Calgarians who have been promised a rate cap or a property tax cap this year could see increase to water rates or perhaps property tax in order to cover these infrastructure costs?
I think one of the most important things that we need to remember is the costs for the repair and restoration work have not been tallied in full yet. So when we have a better idea of what those costs were, we'll be able to tell you more about whether our reserves can cover that. I am hoping that we get this information soon. Michael knows that we have been asking that question on a regular basis, so we won't know what we're doing with cost recovery until we understand what the costs are. It is my expectation and certainly my hope that our reserves will be able to cover the cost of this. In terms of future works, in terms of making sure that we have the monitoring technology that's needed and any of the maintenance work that's needed, that's a serious conversation that Council is having right now, and we will carry that conversation on into budget deliberations in November.
Sorry, Michael with Global. Once we go into the sprinklers, we've got the even numbers, the odd numbers, the hours and whatnot. No doubt there's going to be calls about neighbors using their sprinklers at the wrong times. What's the plan for enforcement? What's your message to Calgarians if they do spot their neighbor doing something on the wrong day?
I think Calgarians have been incredible human beings, and I say the same of our neighbors at Sutuna Nation, Airdrie, Chestermere, and Strathmore, who have been going through this with us. It was a simple, please, could you reduce the amount of water that you use, and could you abide by the outdoor water restrictions? And people listened. We have really good folks in these communities who have already stepped up, and I have no reason to believe that they won't continue to step up. And if you see a situation where you need to report a neighbor, please know that when bylaw comes out, their first job is to say, did you know? And provide that education piece. And in the majority of cases, people simply weren't aware and they changed their habits very quickly. So we will continue to rely on the good habits of the people that live in this city and the region.
Wondering if we can get an update just in terms of where we're at with the Glenmore Dam, or Glenmore Water Treatment Plant, because we know that there had to be that regular scheduled maintenance that was pushed back. Where are we at with completing that work?
So I do know that that maintenance work was done about a week or 10 days ago, and it is completed. But GM Thompson, do you want to weigh in?
Well, the Mayor hit the nail on the head completely. That maintenance work at the Glenmore Dam was completed at the Glenmore Water Treatment Plant, and it's now back up and running in its regular capacity. And so we're happy that we had that resiliency, that when this pipe went down, we were able to use the Glenmore Water Treatment Plant to really ensure that we had safe drinking water for everyone across the city.
Scott with Post Media.
My first question was the enforcement one, so I'll skip straight to my follow-up, which was during the stage 4 restrictions, we would get updates on the number of violation tickets that had been issued. I don't know if that was still occurring during stage 3, and if so, does the city know how many people were ticketed during?
Yeah, thanks for the question. So, question about the number of violation tickets that we were providing when we were doing the daily briefings from the Emergency Operations Center, and Chief Sue Henry would provide those on a daily basis. I haven't got an update on where we're at, but we can get that update and provide it to folks.
Back to Mr. Dipple with CBC.
A question for the Mayor. The restrictions that we saw mostly here on the screen, is that just for the city of Calgary, or does the city have that same measure of cooperation from the other municipalities, the First Nations that rely on our water?
I can tell you that our neighbors in surrounding municipalities that rely on our water system have been incredible in terms of mirroring the restrictions that we have put into place. They will continue to be good neighbors and good partners and ensure that their citizens and residents are aware of the restrictions that we have in place right now.
And can you offer any clarity on where window washers fit into our restrictions?
So we know that there's a lot of folks who have had concerns about their livelihood. I can tell you that with the stage we're in right now, window washing is permissible, so people should know that. Are there more details you'd like to share, GM Thompson? Go ahead.
I would just say thanks for the question again, and like the Mayor said, professional window washers are permitted in stage. They were permitted in stage 3 and are allowed in stage 2. So if you'd like to reach out to a professional window washing company to have your windows washed, please know that's allowed, and please go ahead and do that and support those local businesses.
Time for 2 more. Darren Gross with Logwire.
Just wanted to clarify, as Director Bouchard had said, possibly stage 1 restrictions by Monday. Are we essentially looking at the same process, checking for wire snaps, any major issues before we make that jump to stage 1? Or are you looking for anything more specific, making that final jump to allowing people to get to stage 1?
Yeah, thanks for the question. So really asking about what are we doing as we move from stage 2 to 1, and what are we watching? And what we're really looking for and watching is the health of the system overall. So we're looking at the health of the pipe to see if we're hearing any additional wire snaps, watching the pressure within the pipe and at the pumping stations. And we're looking at the demand side across the city. So as we move from stage 3 to 2, we've got forecasts for what we believe the demand will be, and we need to really see if those forecasts are accurate, see if the supply and the demand are balanced. And so it's a very dynamic system, running a water system across the city. As you've seen in the demand charts that we've shown in the past, demand really fluctuates with temperature. It can go up and down quite a bit. And so we'll be watching that demand as we go into stage 2, especially with the hot weather, to make sure that we will have the supply available to be able to move into stage 1. If everything goes well, we will be looking to do that on Monday, and that's the plan that the mayor and I had laid out on Monday of this week, and we're just slowly and cautiously executing through that right now.
Do you expect, there's a lot of pent-up demand, there's a lot of people with brown lawns, do you expect there to be a spike before it sort of levels off to what you would expect?
Yeah, so the question about a potential pent-up demand and spike coming up in water consumption, and I would really say, as the mayor had said earlier, Calgarians have been fantastic throughout this whole situation to follow the rules. And we'd ask that you just work with your neighbors and follow the schedule we've laid out. The schedule is really based on distributing water across the city with the odd and even numbers, and allowing the system to recover on those days when we're asking people not to use sprinklers. And so if everyone can work together, it will help to balance that demand across the city and will help to move us into that stage 1 quicker.
Last question, Kevin Green. Just a quick question about the timing of the move to the new level of restrictions. Is it immediate? Is it now? Is it like this second? It's there?
We have moved from stage 3 to stage 2 restrictions as of now. So if folks with odd number of houses would like to use their sprinklers in the morning or in the evening today, please feel free to do that. If you'd like to use a hose with a nozzle, triggered nozzle, please feel free to do that. So please be out and watering your gardens and your shrubs if you feel the need to do that. And again, please follow those water conservation measures that you've established over the last number of weeks. It's really helping us get through this together as a community.
All right, folks. Turn it back to the mayor.
I just want to thank everybody for your patience and your understanding as we have gone through this situation. You have been incredible human beings since the 5th of June and since we asked you to start reducing your water usage. I know a lot of you have come up with some pretty inventive ways to be good water stewards, and we appreciate that. With this move to stage 2 restrictions, there's many more things that you can engage in, and I just want to thank you again. Thank you to the teams that have done this tremendous work, and thank you to Calgarians and the surrounding region for being good people.